Homer, the Iliad. Step into the epic world of the Iliad, a timeless narrative by Homer that plunges readers into the heart of a decade-long war between Greeks and Trojans. At its core are the themes of rage, honor, and divine intervention, encapsulated through the rivalry between the mighty Greek hero Achilles and King Agamemnon. As Achilles' wrath spurs the plot, we witness a vivid tapestry of heroism and tragedy unravel. The story is marked by intense skirmishes, godly meddling, and a poignant exploration of the human spirit amidst strife. This book summary captures the essence of these legendary conflicts and the mortal struggles woven along with divine caprices, setting the stage for a riveting journey through one of history's most celebrated epics.
The Iliad Unraveled. Picture the Iliad as a timeless blockbuster, launching you right into the heart of the action where the Greek forces have been laying siege to Troy for nearly a decade. Led by King Agamemnon, the Achaeans are a coalition of Greek contingents pitted against Priam's Trojan defenders. The essence of the tale centers on the legendary Achilles, the mightiest Greek warrior, whose anger sets the events in motion. It all starts with a dispute between Achilles and Agamemnon over a captured young woman, Chryses. Her father, a devoted priest of Apollo, petitions for her return, but Agamemnon refuses, inciting Apollo's wrath. The god sends a devastating plague on the Greeks, compelling Achilles to confront the king and demand Chryses' release. To make amends, Agamemnon insists on taking Achilles' prize, Briseis, sparking further animosity. Achilles, feeling deeply wronged, pulls back from the battle, which has significant consequences for the Greek campaign. Desperate for resolution, Achilles turns to his divine mother, Thetis. She implores Zeus to tip the scales against the Greeks, coercing them to seek Achilles' aid once more. Zeus obliges, sending Agamemnon a misleading dream about a triumphant offensive, nudging the Greek morale with Odysseus' help. As the Greeks prepare for another assault, the famed Trojan prince Paris proposes a duel with Menelaus, Helen's aggrieved husband. This showdown is pivotal, as Helen's departure with Paris, or her abduction, as it's debated, sparked the war. Menelaus emerges victorious in the duel, but Paris is whisked away by goddess Aphrodite before any resolution can be reached. As tensions simmer, Zeus, exhausted by the human follies, attempts to negotiate peace through Hera and Athena. However, they hold little sympathy for the Trojans. Athena, in particular, stirs unrest by influencing a Trojan archer to wound Menelaus, reigniting hostilities and dashing any hopes for peace. The stage is set for even greater conflict with both divine and mortal realms tangled in a web of ambition, grudges, and divine caprice. As the epic unfolds, heroes grapple with their destinies while the whims of gods shape the fate of empires. Clash of Titans. In the midst of shattered truces, the Greeks and Trojans resume their fierce battles with renewed energy. Among the Greek warriors, Diomedes stands out, his feats fueled by Athena's divine assistance. He cuts through Trojan ranks with valiant force, even defeating Aeneas, a son of Priam, until the intervention of Aphrodite saves Aeneas. In a bold move, Diomedes wounds the goddess herself, prompting Apollo to send Ares, the god of war, to challenge him. Supported by Hector, Priam's other son, Ares attempts to neutralize Diomedes but is met by Athena and suffers a wounding defeat. The Greeks gain ground but soon face Hector's indomitable spirit as he rallies the Trojans, turning the tide and averting a retreat. Across the embattled land, Hector's influence extends into Troy, where he urges prayer and sacrifices to earn divine favor, though his confidence wavers. He bids a poignant farewell to his wife Andromache and their young son, seemingly aware of the shadows of fate. The divine powers, orchestrating destinies, arrange for Hector to duel a Greek warrior. Ajax is selected, leading to an epic clash that stretches into dusk without a clear victor, forcing a grudging pause in their combat. Back within the Trojan walls, debate brews over Helen's fate. Paris offers to return everything he stole, barring Helen, to bring peace, a proposal the Greeks reject. Despite their impasse, both sides agree to a temporary truce to bury their dead with honor. Seizing this brief lull, the Greeks fortify their camp, constructing a defensive wall and ditch, each stone laid in preparation for the battles yet to come. The tide of war. In the midst of relentless battles, the Greeks find themselves backed into a corner, their struggle growing increasingly dire. Zeus, the supreme ruler of the gods, foresees continued Greek losses unless their formidable warrior Achilles re-enters the fray. Yet, Hera and Athena, inherently sympathetic to the Greek cause, disregard Zeus's directive for divine neutrality, hinting at deeper celestial interventions. As darkness settles, Trojan leader Hector, emboldened and unswerving, stations his troops at the doorstep of Greek fortifications. With the Greeks caught in a vice of desperation, Agamemnon, the beleaguered Greek commander, realizes the necessity of mending relations with Achilles. In a bid to coax him back to the battlefield, Agamemnon dispatches envoys, including the illustrious Odysseus, with an offer to restore Briseis, Achilles' cherished captive. However, the embassies return with no success. Achilles remains unyielding, his anger unassuaged, setting a steep condition: he will draw his sword again only if Trojan forces threaten Greek vessels directly. Meanwhile, the Greek camp buzzes with discontent and anxiety. Restless and unable to sleep, Agamemnon convenes a midnight assembly. Nestor, the wise advisor, proposes a daring reconnaissance mission into Trojan territories, a suggestion swiftly taken up by Diomedes and Odysseus. They sneak into enemy lines, capture and interrogate a Trojan scout, and execute a nocturnal raid on a sleeping Thracian camp, savoring a brief but crucial victory. Yet, as dawn breaks, the fierceness of Troy's assault renews. Despite their valiant efforts, key Greek warriors, including Agamemnon himself, suffer injuries, prompting an urgent retreat. The situation becomes so critical that Greek lines are breached and forced to flee toward the sea. In this chaos, unbeknownst to Zeus, mighty Poseidon lends the Greeks clandestine aid. Hera, Zeus's wife, floats into action with remarkable cunning, distracting Zeus and allowing Poseidon to further bolster Greek ranks. However, the Trojan hero Hector presses on. Even after receiving a grievous wound from Ajax, the Greek colossal warrior, his spirit remains unbroken. The Greek miracle is short-lived, as Zeus, jolted awake, swiftly repositions the cosmic scales. He commands Apollo to strengthen the Trojans, tipping the tide once more. With Apollo's divine support, the Trojans penetrate Greek defenses down to the very ships. Amongst this frenzied scene, Patroclus, unfazed by protocol, emerges with a desperate plea to Achilles. He begs to don Achilles' armor and fight in his place, driven by the dire plight of their comrades and the looming fate of annihilation. Achilles' vengeful quest. Achilles, in a pivotal moment, allows his companion Patroclus to don his armor. Just in time, Patroclus reaches the battlefield where the Greeks are on the verge of devastation, with the Trojan forces setting fire to their ships. Leading a fierce counterattack, Patroclus drives the Trojans back and creates chaos among their ranks. He claims the life of Sarpedon, a Trojan ally and son of Zeus, defying Achilles' caution to refrain from pursuing the enemy too far. Undaunted, Patroclus presses on to the gates of Troy, where his fate meets him. Stricken first by Apollo and then by Euphorbus, he is finally killed by Hector, who seizes Achilles' armor. With his dying breath, Patroclus foretells Hector's death at Achilles' hands. The Trojans attempt to drag Patroclus' body back with them, but the Greeks won't relinquish it easily. A brutal clash ensues, during which Menelaus, aided by Athena, slays Euphorbus and successfully retrieves Patroclus' body. The skirmish halts as a mysterious mist envelopes the field, and once it lifts, the Greeks are in retreat. Meanwhile, Antilochus races to inform Achilles of the grim news. Upon hearing of Patroclus' demise, Achilles is engulfed in profound grief. His lamentations reach his mother, Thetis, who surfaces from the sea along with her kin to comfort him. Despite her dire warning of the imminent danger Hector poses, Achilles resolves to rejoin the conflict to avenge Patroclus and secure his fallen friend's body. Dawn finds him without armor, yet Athena ensures his presence is formidable, cloaking him in radiant protection. Achilles' resounding war cry unnerves the Trojans, allowing the Greeks to reclaim Patroclus' body. While Hector remains confident of Zeus' favor, urging his warriors to continue their assault, Thetis, determined to safeguard her son, enlists Hephaestus to forge new armor for Achilles. Fury in the Iliad. On the fourth day of battle, Thetis carries Achilles' new, gleaming armor to him, but he remains steeped in sorrow over the death of his friend. The events unfolding around him, including Agamemnon's return of Briseis, do nothing to lift his spirit. Even when his horse Xanthus foretells his own death, Achilles remains unfazed, focusing solely on returning to the battlefield. Despite Odysseus insisting the men need proper nourishment, Achilles refuses to eat. It's Athena who stealthily provides him ambrosia and nectar, fortifying him for the violent clash ahead. Achilles, now armed and revitalized, leads his warriors back into war. Zeus, removing his earlier restrictions on divine intervention, gives the gods free rein to influence the battle. With fervor, Achilles charges into the Trojans. Apollo, motivating Trojan heir Aeneas to confront Achilles, sees his plan backfire as Achilles overpowers him. Yet, out of sympathy, Poseidon saves Aeneas, switching allegiances momentarily, which fuels Achilles' wrath. As an unstoppable force, Achilles unleashes havoc, akin to a raging, inhuman fire. Apollo warns Hector to steer clear of Achilles' fury, but there comes a moment when he courageously rescues him. Meanwhile, Achilles' relentless slaughter forces the Trojan soldiers to retreat to Troy. Some try escaping by the river Scamander, but the water soon turns crimson as Achilles continues his massacre, even claiming one of Priam's sons. The river itself, invoking its divine nature, commands Achilles to cease, but he stubbornly refuses. Enraged, the river retaliates with a massive flood, combated by Hephaestus's fire at Hera's urging, resulting in the river's eventual retreat. Above the mortal fray, the gods turn their quarrels on each other. Ares attacks Athena, only to be struck down with a stone. Athena drives Aphrodite back in disgrace, while Poseidon challenges Apollo, who declines to engage in conflicts over men. Artemis accuses Apollo of cowardice, drawing Hera's wrath, who sends Artemis fleeing to Zeus in tears. Exhausted, the gods retreat to Olympus, except for Apollo. In disguise, Apollo cunningly lures Achilles away from Troy, allowing Priam to open the gates for his battered troops. While the Trojans regroup within their walls, Hector remains stubbornly in the open, defying his parents' pleading eyes to face Achilles. A chase ensues around the city's perimeter. With Athena's deceit, Hector pauses, only to be met by Achilles' unrelenting spear. Hector expires with a prophetic reminder of Achilles' forthcoming death. Ignoring Greek traditions, Achilles commits the ultimate disrespect by dragging Hector's body around, displaying his anger and grief for Patroclus. As funeral games commence, Achilles finds no relief from his anguish, nor can he find rest. His obsessive mistreatment of Hector's corpse continues for 11 days, sparking Apollo to intervene. Zeus directs Thetis to convince Achilles to return Hector's body. In a rare moment of decency, Achilles agrees, and Hermes assists Priam in reclaiming his son's body from the Greek camp, exchanging gifts. This unexpected encounter is marked by mutual respect, even sharing a meal together. Once in Troy, Hector receives a ceremonial cremation and funeral feast. Here, the narrative of the Iliad reaches its poignant closure, echoing themes of rage, honor, and the cyclical nature of vengeance and remorse.
As the Iliad draws to a close, it reveals the complexities of heroism, the burdens of pride, and the fleeting nature of glory. Achilles' relentless rage and the equally fervent defense of Troy paint a rich picture of the blurred lines between victor and vanquished. The eventual respect shown between Achilles and King Priam over Hector's funeral underscores a fundamental theme of shared humanity beyond the battlefield. Through this epic's dramatic battles and celestial interferences, Homer's narrative leaves us pondering the profound impact of our choices and the relentless march of fate. This legendary tale reminds us of the timeless struggle for meaning and honor in the chaos of life, leaving a lasting impression of the grandeur and tragedy of war.